Suit of Swords now is connected to Yetzirah, and it represents our mind. We have a lot of scary cards in the sword suit. Many people are afraid of the swords because you know what happens when we overthink, when we get stuck in here. Things are usually taking a turn for the worse. So that's why there are some difficulties, but we start out with the epitome of thought, the Ace of Swords, and we have a crown here. This is connected to all the air signs, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And we have, when this card comes up, not so many thoughts going on, but just one clear thought. And that is about an epiphany. That is about clarity of thought. That's usually a good sign. That's about a good conversation or a positive new beginning in a intellectual endeavor, for example. Yeah. We have the crown here that is being pierced by this sword reaching up into the heavens. The Two of Swords. Now we have the first decan of Libra, the cardinal air sign. Moon in Libra. And this woman here cannot decide. She is stuck between two thoughts, two swords. And this is about stagnation, the need to make a choice. You know? 3 is about difficulty now. 3s are connected to Bina on the Kabbalistic tree of life, the Great Mother. All the 3s are connected to Bina and therefore to the Empress, who is number 3 in the major arcana. And here we have Saturn in Libra. So the keyword for Bina is understanding. There's always some painful understanding with the 3 of Swords that could lead, for example, to heartbreak and difficulty. Saturn is restriction, Libra, relationships. So there is usually some restriction in relationships, or maybe we have made the wrong choice here. This is not the best. I mean, this is a sad card if you see this in a reading. Usually something is related to pain or mental anguish or heartbreak. Yeah. So number 4, Jupiter in Libra. It's about expansion. After the heartbreak, we get to Chesed. 4s are always about stability. So here we get to a level of pause. He is maybe meditating, maybe dead, but he looks like he is made out of stone, like a statue. So he is maybe just contemplating or enchanted. So this card is really about expanding the mind. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and it is about finding peace and quietude. When this card comes up, you are called into stillness and a meditation. There might be a little bit of stagnation if your question was about an outer experience. It's not really moving forward. Next, number 5. 5s, like I said, are represented of the Sephirot of Gebura, and that is change. That is conflict. You know, 5s are right in the middle. We are in the tough, we are stuck in the middle. We need to We need to overcome challenges in order to grow and to get to the harmony of the 6. But 5s is usually the halfway point between enlightenment and the first spark of manifestation. So we are furthest away, quote unquote, from God. We are at that middle point where the challenge is happening, which has to happen in every story for there to be something to overcome and a happy ending. You have a natural story arc there. So this is the 5, and here we have a fight. He is victorious, but at what cost? People are walking away, right? They're very sad, they're ashamed, he can't even look. He is burying his head in his hands. So when this card comes up with Venus in Aquarius, things are difficult. There might be a fight, there might be defeat, and you know, it's just a lot of conflict. 6s, then we move on from the conflict. Hopefully we have learned something from the conflict. Now 6s are more about peace, and in this card we see a woman and her child on a boat crossing a river to a better world. This is about moving on mentally, moving forward mentally. We usually need to leave something behind, and it is getting better though, right? This is about a clarifying conversation with your partner after a fight, for example. Some people, I have had this card come up when it's about literal refugees. I've had this card come up in regards to moving forward in a relationship, moving on from a relationship, making things better, introducing new stimuli after overthinking for a long time, finally getting out of the house. I've had this card come up when it's about a trip. Okay? So, the 7 moon in Aquarius. 7s, remember, are about the chariot, and look where he's moving. He's moving, but he's looking over his shoulder, he's looking back, and he has stolen those swords. And look how he's holding them. That's a dangerous way of holding swords. That looks painful. But he's looking over his shoulder. He is not an honest man. Oh no. No. He has ulterior motives. There's this circles in the back. He is, when this card comes up, you are met with shady behavior. It could be ghosting or lying or just being very indirect and quiet, which is needed in some situations. Sometimes you do not have to show all your cards to everybody. No. But that leads to the 8, right? Maybe he has been caught. I mean, now he's a woman, but after being caught, you may end up in jail. You might end up tied up, you know? So this is the 8 of Swords, and that's the card associated with the sphere of Hod on the Kabbalistic tree of life. And it is also Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter, again, remember, is all about expansion. Gemini, the mind, communication, the twins. So here we take things apart and we are trapped in our own mind because these ties, they're pretty loose. She could throw them off herself. However, she is not doing so. She is not doing that. She remains trapped in her own thoughts. This is about a mental prison, feeling blocked, feeling like you cannot get out of somewhere, feeling imprisoned in your own mental agony. But sometimes, depending on the context, this could be about just being stuck in your house, being afraid of leaving the house, meeting new people, or just not being able to see things clearly with that blindfold, not being able to see the forest for the trees. And that results in the Nine of Swords, which is the anxiety and nightmare card. He cannot sleep. He is plagued by his own mind and thoughts. And haven't we all been there? Haven't we all been there? Nines are your sought, the sphere of the moon. The moon is all about our, illusions, also the astral realm where concepts exist that then become manifest. So here we have mental agony, anxiety, fear. As advice, you need to face your fears and do the thing you are afraid of. Mars in Gemini tells you to move forward with your communication. But it also just means like an overactive mind. Quick mind. Okay. We're at the 10. The drama is complete. Look at this diode. It's not funny. It's not funny. It is very, very sad to see somebody pierced by 10 swords. But a part of this card is the dramatization that goes along with it. Because look, you don't need 10 swords to kill someone. One would have been enough. But no, this is just the mind exploding on you. And, ego death ending like a painful ending, usually, or betrayal, being stabbed in the back. Literally, that happens. But we also see dawn right here. We also see dawn coming. So there are still very dark and stormy clouds in the foreground. However, the light is coming back. You just need to let go of the old. Yeah. Start over. There is nothing to save here. Yeah, this is the sun in Gemini. The sun in Gemini, communication, illumination. Finally, seeing things clearly that do not work anymore. Yeah. There's just something you need to release with this card. Something that cannot be saved. Next we have the pages, because that's the final manifestation of the swords. It's utter destruction, the mind destroying itself. It's so brilliant though, because that's why you need meditation and to get out of your own way, get out of your own mind and embody more of the cups, right? Embody the chalice, drop into the back of your body and imagine yourself as a chalice receiving life and not just thinking so much about it, trying to dominate and control and micromanaging everything. That's not working. Okay. So, but the swords people, they're my friends. They're pretty cool. You have the page. Earth of Air. Earth of Air. The page is young, but look at his stance. He's ready to fight. He's ready to defend himself, which is what this card is all about. It's about arguments. He is quite argumentative. It is also about learning something new, right? the need to stand up for yourself, to defend yourself with words in an argument, all in strife. Also, the desire for learning, for study. He has a very, very curious mind, this little man here. So pages are the youngest of the courts. Next, there is the knight. Again, you could see the knight as either fire or air. Seeing the knight of fire, we would have fire of air. Otherwise, we would have air of air. Oh, if you thought the page was argumentative, you have not met the knight. He is all about forward movement and momentum with his words. He is very fiery. He is speaking his mind. He is running headfirst into any argument that would come his way. He knows his facts. He's ready for a fight. He's ready to take on the world. He's ready to hold speeches and he's a good public speaker. But he could be a very rash and impulsive person as well. The queen has a widow's bracelet here. So she's seen things. She's wisdom. She's a mature woman. Her sword is reaching up high above the clouds. So she sees through things. She cuts to the heart of any given matter. She's water of air. So she knows. She combines the intellectual side of her suits with her feminine wisdom. She appears when we are mourning something, when there's something to heal from and analyze, understand. Something that has been hurtful maybe, that just wants to be understood and cradled. She helps us in those endeavors. She is very analytical. And the king, now we have air of air or fire of air, depending. He is again sitting on his throne, having an overview over any situation. He is here to plan things for you when you need somebody to plan. He knows what you need, if you need spreadsheets, if you need certain books or information, and how, if you need to schedule things, make a schedule for yourself. He knows what you need. So he is very, very good when it comes to planning, analyzing, planning, and having control over, a certain structure you want for yourself, for example. So he is incredibly smart, but cold, right? In a love reading, he is difficult. He knows what's going on and what he wants, but he does not really have the warmth to actually relate and be in a relationship, right? He could be cold. He could be a player who knows all the games and knows how to play mind games without actually opening his heart. He could be over-analyzing a certain situation and be afraid of his feelings, be afraid to open up. He could have a need to be in control. But he could also be you, having things under control and making things happen. And there's that with the sword.